And it's a very good morning to the Gelding on slightly overcast day in Melbourne, Gelding, but we're not in Melbourne today. We're going to New South Wales, Sydney.
Yes. Good morning, professors. Good morning, listeners. Professor, we thought we might go to Randwick today in New South Wales, where there's the last two Group 1 races. So we thought maybe that's a better meeting than the Caulfield meeting today.
Well, it's an excellent card. Not only are there two Group 1s, Gelding, but there's also four Group 3s. So the good horses and the good jockeys all in Sydney.
Yes, very, very strong race day. Of course, this is the last day of the championships up there where we have the Champagne Stakes and the All Age Stakes. But as you said, a couple of strong Group 3 races, Professor, and without giving any tips away, probably one of our two favourite jockeys, being Jamie Carr, is not riding in Melbourne today, has gone to Sydney and has latched on to the Blue Army, the Godolphin stable for us. So they're things that we'd like to follow. If only Willie Pike was up there, Professor.
Yes, but you mentioned Jamie Carr rode at Werribee yesterday, Gelding, where you had an interest going around. Do we talk about that now or at the end of the program?
Oh, no, we can talk about that now. Our wonderful Steve dropped the mic race yesterday in a benchmark 58, which is about his grade. And I think we've had about the 13th jockey aboard, Professor, and unfortunately our trainer didn't use Jamie Carr. Even though Jamie Carr has ridden for her before. But yes, we saw a bit of Werribee, and as you commented on, we saw a bit of Hoppers Crossing, and we saw a bit of, I think we were on the outskirts of Geelong. We were that wide coming around the turn, but
it was a good second though, Gelding.
Well, as I was talking to you, Professor, as we said, down the back straight there at Werribee, I would have estimated the horse was 10 to 12 lengths off the leader that eventually won. And it showed a bit of ping, which was very surprising, Professor. And flashed home was really motoring home for second, beating a length. So, what could have been again, Professor? So now after 18 starts, I think we have one win and 7 seconds, Professor.
Well, as I said, good second.
Good second.
What are your red hot tips for Randwick today?
Oh, Professor, I'm going to Group 1s. In race 6, going horse number 2, Hillar, trained by Peter Moody, ridden by Tom Berry. This horse ran third to Animo last week in the Sires Stakes over 1,400, Professor. Was beaten by 3 or 4 lengths, but there's no Animo in this race, and Hillfire had a very good win down here in Melbourne and has now had 4 starts for a win and 2 placings. And just backing up, going up to 1,600, Peter Moody, your local trainer down there in Pakenham, is really firing at the moment. So I think this could be one of the bets of the day. Probably a bit worried about the top weight, Captivant Professor, but I knew you were worried. You thought Hillel was a good bet.
Yes.
But anyway, we'll go with Hillar, Professor.
Excellent choice, Gelding. And your other bet?
Well, the All Age Stakes, Professor, we'll go the favourite again, Masked Crusader, again ridden by Tommy Berry. So I'm putting a bit of faith in Tommy. He's riding well at the moment. This horse was in the TJ Smith last week, Professor, and flashed home to run second, beaten by Nature Strip. But at the top of the straight, again, was probably 8 lengths behind Nature Strip and flashed home to be beaten by about a length and a half. So if a run like that continues, and the start before that, Professor, it won the Group 1 William Reid at Moonee Valley, ridden by Willie Pike. It got the good run along the inside, but still won and flashed home. So 1,400 metres today of the all-age may suit it perfectly, Professor. But I know you're a bit worried about, again, one of the rides Jamie Carr's gone up for.
Yeah, her ride on the Blue Army horse Cascadian, number 5. I think that's a decent threat to Masked Crusader.
Well, it did win the Doncaster last week, 2 weeks ago, Professor, so has to be a good chance.
And another threat in that race, a horse we've been on before, Gelding Sabatiano.
Yes.
Huey
Yes.
Bowman on that one.
Yes, Professor. That was my second tip. And also Colding. So, they don't give away Group 1 when races are worth 600,000. So you get plenty of good chances in it, Professor. But the Hawks team seem to have this horse firing at the moment. So hopefully we can salute.
Yes, Gelding. All right. I've gone.
Your tips?
Yes, I've gone the earlier races. So I've gone in race 4 and 5. Race 4 over, it's a Group 3 over 2,000 metres. I like, for a little bit of value for you and I and the viewers, horse 2, Hangman. Now, Glenn Boss is on that. It'd be fair to say at 51, Glenn's in the twilight of his career, wouldn't it, Gelding?
I'd say so, but still a very competitive jockey, Professor.
Yes, yes.
So he can ride them.
Yeah, career win rate of 13%, but over his last 56%. But that, I've put that down to, it probably reflects the rides he's now getting, given that, he's like Craig Robertson, one of the older jockeys.
Yeah, they seem to get selective rides. So,
Yeah,
it's a matter of them picking out the horses. So,
trained by a trainer we like, Gelding, Michael Moroney. He's in career best form at the moment. 16% win rate over the last 50.
Yes, and there's very, 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 very good strike rate.
Yeah, what I liked about Hangman is that over its last 5 starts, it's had 3 wins and a placing, including it won its last start, which was a Group 3 at Caulfield, and it beat Persan, which also has had some good recent form. It won the Group 3 Bart Cummings. So there's a little bit of method to my madness, if you like. It's won over the distance. So, and at current odds on Sportsbet, you can get $9 fixed. So,
oh, beautiful each way bet, Professor.
If that gets up, Gelding will be very happy. It'll be win a lobster dinner.
Oh, lobster! Oh, beautiful, Professor. The lobster dinner. Hangman in fine form, Professor, winning its last 2. As you said, beat Persan last week, which ran 5th in the Melbourne Cup last year. So, that's a class horse, and Persan has come back and won another race. So, in fine form, Professor, and $9. I think you've got the overs on that one, Professor. Well done.
And the threats in that race, Gelding, are I'd see as Entente and also the favourite Zaki. Although what I will say about Zaki is it's second up today. It hasn't got such a great second up form. Four starts for a win and a placing. So there's no guarantee that it's going to run to its odds.
No, and you backed Entente last time it ran for the second, Professor. So, but of course, Hangman wasn't in that race, so not a bad little thing.
And race 5, I can't go past Jamie Carr and the Blue Army. Horse 4, Roheron. It's got a 37% win rate, a 63% place rate. It's the Hallmark Stakes, Gelding, a Group 3 over 1,200 metres. Now, I didn't realise that Hallmark was a better horse than I thought it was.
Go on, Professor. I think it won a cup, didn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, Melbourne Cup.
The AJC, It won the Doncaster, it won the Derby, it won the Size Produce Stakes, it won the Champagne Stakes. It won a VRC Derby, a Melbourne Cup, an Underwood, a St Ledger, and a Memsey. So
that's a very, very good horse that wins two of the good 2-year-old races, goes on and wins the 2 best derbies as a 3-year-old, and as an older horse wins the Melbourne Cup.
And admitted to the Racing Hall of Fame quite rightly in 2019. I think what I liked about its form, though, Gelding, over a career of 52 races, 34% win rate, and here's the killer, 83% place rate.
Jeez,
over its
fantastic.
entire career. So it's been very kind to the punters in its career.
I'm just trying to add up, if that prize money in today's things, Professor, you got the Melbourne Cup worth $5 million or over $7 million, I think it is now. So the winner gets $4 million there, roughly.
Yep.
The AJC Derby's worth $2.5 million, so the winner picks up about $1.5 million. And all those other races, what's the Champagne today, which it won? It's worth $500,000.
Yeah. There's a fair bit of stakes money there.
The equivalent in 2019 with that, you could buy a couple of good houses in fairly good suburbs, Professor.
Yes, you could, Gelding.
That's what would be known as a good investment, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Looking at Jamie Carr, we know she's in career form at the moment, 24% win rate over her last 50. The Blue Army, James Cummings might be on rocky ground, though. He's only got 12% over his last 50 with some of the horses he's got. I think we'd probably be expecting a little bit better, wouldn't we?
We would, Professor. A few of them have been, he's going through that form very much like Ben Hayes did just before the Spring Carnival. They're running a lot of placings. So, yeah, look, you would think they just need a little bit of luck. They turned it around with Jamie Carr last week and won the Doncaster, the big Group 1 up there and things like that. So, look, they've just been a little bit stiff. But the reason, of course, we follow them, Professor, which we've said many, many times, they have that many horses. They place them in the right races. They place them to their ability. So they've been a bit stiff in some of the bigger races, like Animo again, running second in the Golden Slipper. So they've been thereabouts without winning the big ones, Professor.
Yeah. And for our filters, Gelding, Rowan's one at the course, one over the distance. Interesting thing, the sire Lonhro. Very
Lonhro, yes. Yeah. One of the favourite horses of the Inghams. Where Godolphin brought out the Inghams. Owned and that, but it's been a sensational sire, Lonhro, Professor, as well as a sensational racehorse.
Yeah. All right, Gelding, let's go to the Professor's Parlay.
The very successful Professor's Parlay.
Our agreed bet of the day, race 6, horse 2, Hillel, into, and I've had some mail from Paul Deligan, so we're going to stick with the NRL because we've had a fair bit of success with that. The Cronulla Sharks to beat my Canterbury Bulldogs.
Oh, okay.
I would suggest fairly easily. And the Canberra Raiders at $1.25 to beat the North Queensland Cowboys.
Very nice. I like it, Professor.
If I go into a few statistics for you, Gelding, the Cowboys have have got a points differential of -89.
Jesus. Without Jonathan Thurston, without JT, they're struggling a bit, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, Gelding. And my Bulldogs, a league worst points differential of -52.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, Professor. They're spending a lot of money on young players, but they're just not quite gelling, are they?
No, they're not Gelding. They're certainly not. The Professor's Parlay at the current time showing 9-2.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful, Professor. And, of course, Professor, we'll, apart from the very successful parlay when this gets up, that'll hopefully allow you enough money to have a friendly bet on tonight's game of Richmond Melbourne, Professor.
Yes, we see it differently, Gelding. I think you think Richmond will win, and I think Melbourne will win.
Oh, I just think it'll be a very, very good game of football, Professor. I think Richmond have hit a bit of form in the last 2 rounds and Melbourne are just playing in spectacular form, Professor.
Leads me to Sports Fan Radio tomorrow, Gelding. We'll have to take up with the Judge House and Kill to get a Friday night game.
Oh,
How do they now get a Friday night game, Gelding?
Oh, I don't mind the Saints, but yeah, that's they're certainly up and down a bit so far this year, Professor.
Well, they are. But my point is, how come Melbourne is playing at 3:20 on a Sunday when they're one of the best teams in the competition at the moment? Yeah, yes.
I agree completely with you, Professor. You are right up there. Footscray last night, the Friday night game.
Well, they deserved it.
Yes, they're in fine fettle. Melbourne are in fine fettle. I'm very happy for you that Tim May's come back into the side, Professor. Stephen May, I should say.
Stephen May.
I very much rate him as a footballer, and your backline has been quite sensational so far this year, Professor.
Well, I only hope that it continues like that. So until Sports Fan Radio tomorrow, Gelding, and until that's racing next Saturday, it's good luck.
And good punting.